Of those that today would say, no, we can't do that, in a short period of time, they're going to say, yeah, we need to do that. And if you are not convinced that Jesus is who he claimed to be, that he truly is God in human flesh, therefore he has absolute authority over all mankind, if that isn't true, then you shouldn't give up your life for a lie. That would be foolish. And so the real question is, do we really believe what we sing in our hymns? If you young people grew up in the church, I did. That was a blessing. But you and I both know there's a day when it has to become real. It has to become yours. I am thankful for the testimony of my parents. I'm thankful for the testimony of all those people in those churches, all those Sunday school teachers who taught me faithfully and everything else. I'm thankful for all of that, but there's a day that comes when it has to be yours. You stand on your own 2 feet by the grace of God upon the foundation of saying, I believe. Have you done that? How firm is your foundation? How convinced are you that Jesus Christ is who he claimed to be? How convinced are you that the Word of God speaks clearly? That in Matthew chapter 19, when Jesus said, have you not read that he from the beginning made them male and female? There are a lot of ways to get around that. Bart Ehrman will give you ways to do that. All the liberals will give you a way to do that. How convinced are you? Because when it comes down to what I've seen for years, one of the toughest things I've ever seen are the ladies in Muslim lands separated from their children by their faith in Jesus Christ. Because a mother's love for that child is nothing like it. Ladies, remember what Jesus said? Anyone who loves mother, father, sister, brother, children, more than me, is not worthy of me. Wow. Came all this way for that, huh? Yeah. We must be absolutely convinced that what is said in texts such as this in Romans chapter 1 is divine revelation, and that it speaks with clarity, it speaks with force, and it's true. If we don't believe it, we will not stand firm. The issues we're facing today are gospel issues. Here in Romans chapter 1, all of chapter 2, the beginning of chapter 3, Paul lays out the bad news before getting to the good news. And what he says is, God has revealed himself, and he has revealed himself with so much clarity that it is said at the end of verse 20, they are unapologetus, without an apologetic. Now you might say, well, wait a minute. Atheists have an apologetic and the secularist has an apologetic. That's not Paul's point. An apologetic is a consistent, reasoned defense. And there is no consistent, reasoned defense that rejects the existence of the God that made the world in which we live. Every worldview other than the Christian worldview will have to, at some point, reach out and try to borrow something from us to make theirs hold together, because the fact of the matter is they're stuck living in Jesus' world. That's why there is no neutral ground when we talk with people of this world. Do not be deceived by those who would say that what we need to do is we need to carve out a neutral space. And what we're going to do is we'll step down here and we'll let go of our Christian presuppositions, and you let go of your atheist or secularist presuppositions, and we'll just stand here together and we'll reason together. A lot of people say that's how we should do it. The fact of the matter is, there is no such thing as neutral ground in this creation. Because you see, according to Colossians chapter 1, Jesus Christ created all things, whether in heaven and earth, visible, invisible, principalities, powers, dominions, authorities, all things created by him, all things created for him. He is before all things, and him all things sunestiken. They hold together. That means if anything is a fact, it's a fact because Jesus made it a fact. And so if I pretend that there's a neutral ground, and I start reasoning you toward the Christian faith, eventually, if you're a smart person, you're going to get to a point when I start telling you about who Jesus is, you're going to go, well, wait a minute. If Jesus is who you claim he is, then you were lying to me when you said that we were staying on neutral ground, because there can't be neutral ground if this Jesus is who you say he is. And I don't want to be the one to go, yeah, sorry about that. I remember the apostles doing that, you know. Well, yeah, but aren't you glad that, you know, no. It's not how they work. Not how they work. They are without an excuse. Romans chapter 1, that when man who's created in the image of God refuses, there is a twisting of the creator-creation relationship, and that doesn't harm God, but it certainly twists the creation. And the result is their foolish hearts become darkened. Their very reasoning powers become corrupted. They profess to be wise, and yet they're actually foolish. And then they do what? They exchange. They exchanged the truth of God for a lie. There is a principle laid out by the Apostle Paul in 2 Thessalonians. It is a sobering truth that we are seeing all around us, and I don't hear many Christians talking about it. I think it's because it's in an eschatological passage, and a lot of us just sort of have Hal Lindsay-itis, and so we just stay away from all of that. But there's a principle laid out. Those who refuse to love the truth will be caused to love a lie. You cannot be neutral about God's truth. And when he graciously reveals his truth to you, you are under moral obligation by the God of this universe to love the truth of the one who made you. You are under moral obligation by the God of this universe to love the truth as he reveals it to you. And if you refuse to do so, then he is perfectly just to cause you to love a lie, to love falsehood, to your own destruction. That's God's judgment. Think about what that means. If you live in a land where God's